You don't like that stiff on the water tower? That was Bill Steen's idea. Tall as the zoning attorney that's doing it. We don't have any cards yet. Okay. Yeah, my other left or my other right? Your other one. Okay. Well, you heard me talk about the traffic. You have to. I mean, that's why I wanted to bring it up. I don't know if I can only get one or two. I'm going to want to speak. If I get more than that, then I told you I'll pull it. Okay. Are you okay with the disclosure on the dog park? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just want to make it very clear. That's the dog park. We did Fulton Ranch. Ed got really mad at me because I made him go one sheet disclosure that time. Like, no, you bury all this shit. Do you want a one sheet disclosure? I just want to. I want something very clear. Public subject. I want it to stay with the land, so it needs to go. I want people to be fully aware that the dog park's there.
I have something pulled up regarding that.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, how pictures of paper house? Oh, it's like the first iteration of it is what we see. I don't understand because I changed it this morning. I didn't even. I was pulling a disclosure.
How are we doing in our morning glory? He's gonna get the stipulations with him not being here.
Do we want to stipulate a decibel level?
I think if you, I think you,
Have a decibel.
I think if you stipulate that they can't do any announcement, it's only for ambient music.
So not the decibel measurement.
I think it's how are you gonna measure it?
Well, see, that's where we run into the problem. This is where we've always run into the problem in the last decade plus so decades. Police doesn't have a number identified in the city code of what a nuisance is considered.
I mean, you can specify it. I mean, you could. I mean, say, but I think stipulation should read that number one, the hours can be before 9 o'clock in the morning, any day of the week,
Yep.
7 days a week, and that there should be no announcements
Within the patio.
Within the patio, yeah. but yeah, within the patio, but no announcement, or however we want to word it.
Are you okay?
It should be for nothing more than ambient music.
Of course.
And you can add that if you're not here.
But I don't think it was. You go to a lot of breakfast joints where they announce it over the PA.
Oh, you kidding? Oh yeah, there's plenty. TC Egginton's the perfect one. Oh yeah, they.
You go to TC Egginton's?
Oh, we've gone there for years.
In Mesa?
Yeah, we have Tom.
I love that place.
Well, they sold it. They sold it about 3 years ago.
Oh.
To different owners now, so we don't go so much as we used
yeah.
to. But yeah, they old school, party, party of three,
yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's only for ambient music. That's all.
Okay.
For most places now, more and more places have an app.
Yeah.
You give them your phone number and they tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, so only for ambient music and yes on the decibels.
I'm okay with it. I don't care.
Okay.
Put the decibels on there. It's an easy way if somebody wants to go out with a recording.
Of course.
Yeah, okay. Put it out there. It's a 1-year time step. You've got that. The hours of operation. That's all. That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
How you doing? Good.
Hungry dog.
Thing keeps popping up here. Let me get the right one. Good evening. Welcome to the Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting for November 19th. Get this thing to work here. Can I have a roll call, please?
Chair Human,
Here.
Vice Chair Koschel,
Here.
Commissioner Quinn,
Here.
Commissioner Golub,
Here.
Commissioner Schwartzer,
Here.
Commissioner Bilstein.
Here.
We have form.
Thank you. Next item is the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Bilstein, if you'd like to lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance
Thank you, Mr. Bilstein. Appreciate that. Okay. Before this meeting, we had a study session, and I do have three cards. I think it's 3 cards on item number 2. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to pull it to action yet, but I'd like to go through the speaker cards, and 2 of these people would like to speak. And then if we need to, we can pull it to action and have some of the items addressed. So Monique Fulmer, you're opposed to the item. It doesn't say you want to speak. You're welcome to. I'm concerned about the density of the project with only access on Basher Road with busy park and historic canal impeding vision. Do you want to speak, or does that cover it? Okay, thank you. Okay, and then Megan Craighead, do you want to speak? Okay, come on up. You'll have 3 minutes. The clerk can start. If you'll state your name and address for the record, please, and then we'll be glad to hear your concerns.
Okay, thank you. My name is Megan Craighead. My address is 4425 South Basha Road, Chandler 85248. My concerns are with the property that is across the street, across Basha Road. There's a couple of concerns that I have. First is with the density of the housing will create a lot of traffic on our tiny little Basha Road, which was at one point Alma School Road, but then Alma School got moved to where it is now because it would not be able to handle the traffic. So that's a concern that I have. Another concern that I have is the palm trees that line the road, which are part, which can't be taken out, create a picket fence effect. And so it's very difficult to see when you're pulling off of that property. It's very difficult to see cars or people coming. And we get a lot of people biking and walking and kids going to the park and the skate park that I'm really worried something will happen and somebody will get hurt. And the last thing, I guess, is that I just don't feel like the density of the housing matches with the properties that are already there. I understand that Chandler feels like we need more affordable housing. The house prices that have been offered for these houses are in the upper 700s, and I don't feel like that would be considered affordable housing for Chandler residents. And one last thing I forgot, the water tower is being proposed to be knocked down, the old Bash's water tower. There was another water tower that was there that was knocked down quite a few years ago now. And so that leaves just the Basha water tower that is a historic landmark in that area. And I feel like it would be a real shame to knock that down and to not preserve some of the history of that space that was the old Goodyear. And that's everything.
How long have you lived at your property?
At my current property, 10 years, but
Okay.
that is the neighborhood that I was born and raised
Well,
in.
when you mentioned the fact that Basha was Alma School, I figured you'd lived there.
So a little over 40 years I've
Okay.
lived in that neighborhood.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ruben Craighead, would you like to speak, or? Yeah. Okay. You come on up and state your name and address for the record. It'd be great.
Hello, Commission. My name is Ruben Craighead. I live at 4425 South Basha Road also. So my concerns are with the density of the housing, right? There's a lot of houses there, but I think most of all, my biggest point or my biggest opinion about the thing is that it's extremely uncreative, and that as a commission, right, we're here representing the city of Chandler, that we ought to stand up and say, hey, don't just raise everything and put up a bunch of stick houses, right? We need some buy-in from these builders, whether it's leave the trees, right, or leave some kind of like give some parking to this to the city park because there's not enough parking there. Obviously, there's maybe the water tower, right, as some kind of a cool landmark or whatever. But get more creative. We don't need to just level everything that's standing and start, and sell expensive houses that are whatever. So maybe it's maybe not super well thought out, but I think it's in a way of like, here's a chance to give character and creativity and actually kind of enforce some of the things that we want as a Chandler culture and not just as a, tax generating revenue, whatever it is, like in a way of like, big trees are super cool. The Ashton Woods neighborhood that's slightly south of us on Basha Road, they left all the trees. They made them rearrange and change their plans so that they had to keep the big eucalyptus trees, and that was at least something, right? And so as like a standard citizen, as someone that's like, I want to see the trees still there. I want to see the water tower. I want to see some way that's like not just the same old raise it and sell houses. So there's my time, I guess, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. I'm going to pull this action, not for a full presentation, but for let the applicant address a few of the concerns when we get to that. So, okay. So the other, to the audience, we had four other items really on this, or three other items, sorry. Was there anybody in the audience that wanted to comment on any of the other items, item Morning Glory, Maple House, or J. Alexander's? Okay, if not, what's the commission's pleasure on everything but item number 2? And wait, before we go there, staff, do you want to read the item number 3, Morning Glory? There's some additional stipulations. Would you like to read those into the record, please?
Stipulation number 4 is revised to say, the hours of speaker operation within the outdoor patio are limited to the following days and hours. Hours of outdoor speaker operation, Monday to Sunday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Stipulation number 5 is revised to say, the volume level on all outdoor speakers shall not exceed 65 decibels at the nearest residential property line. A new stipulation is added. Stipulation 8 shall read, outdoor speakers shall be used for ambient music only.
You're kind of like me. You wrote your handwriting. It's hard to read, right? Okay. To the commission, anybody, any comments, or anybody want to make a motion on those items? Vice Chair.
Chair, I move to approve the consent agenda minus item 2 and with the revisions to stipulations 4, 5 for Morning Glory and the addition of stipulation 8 to Morning Glory.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Okay, staff, I don't think we really need a presentation. Item number 2, if the applicant would like to state his name and address for the record, and if he wants to talk about the concerns and a few of the items that the residents talked about, please.
Good evening, Chair, members of the Commission. Brendan Ray, 2325 East Camelback Road, here on behalf of K Hovnanian Homes. We're certainly excited. We recognize the opportunities to talk about for sale housing are very limited within the city, and are certainly excited about this particular piece. with respect to at least what I wrote down, I think it's important to understand when we talk about traffic, when we talk about the palm trees and the water tower. I've spent a lot of time on this property um, over the course of my youth and even into where I'm at now. I've spent a lot of time on the property. I'm very familiar with the area. And this site, as the commission may be aware, once was the site of Bash's corporate office and their distribution facility. So there was at its peak anywhere between 150 and 200 employees that were working on this site. It was used for distribution, so you had vendors, you had delivery trucks, you had all kinds of traffic coming in and out of that this location. Not to mention the corporate offices with the executives, the management, mailroom, everything. This was the Basha family headquarters, and so it is something that, as we look at it and look at and consider Basha Road, certainly the intensity of a corporate headquarters with a distribution facility is going to greatly outweigh what it is. Now, obviously, that's not what it is today, but certainly comparing what it is today, as the Bashas, as you may know, sold their company to Rayleigh's, and with that rendered the corporate offices no longer necessary. And so as we look at it, we also know that with respect to the palm trees and concerns about that access, those palm trees, as you may be aware, and the entire canal has been designated historic, which that means those palm trees have been there a really, really long time. And through all of that, there was, again, a lot of traffic that was going in and out of that as compared to this development and the traffic that we will generate. That would have generated more traffic. And so we've actually had lots of discussions with traffic staff relative to their perspective on it, the impact of the use on that road today. And at least as we visited with staff, I'm not aware of any concerns that traffic has. The impact of this development will have on the existing operations, the level of service and capacity along Basha Road. With respect to the water tower, a little bit of history on that water tower. That water tower came around in the late 70s, and it was used for fire suppression because part of this site is within the county. In fact, the majority of it is. Overall 18 acres, 15 acres of it is within the county. And so simultaneous with these applications that are before you, we are processing an annexation request. And so when we look at the water tower, we're not sure of its structural integrity. And then we run into a lot of concerns relative to people wanting to live under it and purchase a home under it. And then we also consider the financial potential burden that would be on the HOA and these homeowners to maintain this facility to ensure that it is safe. And so there are a lot of complications relative to having the water tower exist on the site. But what we've done is we've talked with staff. We recognize that while it's adjacent to the original Goodyear Center, unless I'm mistaken from looking at the old maps, actually is on the Bogle property, but this is certainly adjacent to it. But as we look at it and as we visited with Kay Hovnanian, what we've decided to do is what is on your screen, I think, today, and that is this interpretive sign elevation. And what you see on it, and staff talked about this in the study session, but what you see on it is that there is going to be a steel plaque that's going to have a historical narrative of the site on it. You see that kind of corrugated, what I call corrugated element that's on it, and you see the brick and stuff like that. You see in the very top of that corner, and the old Bash's stores, you remember they had the red lettering and kind of the vertical, what I again call corrugated concrete or whatever the material was. And so taking up and picking up on that historical cue, again, that is relatively synonymous with Bash's, those of us that have shopped at Bash's recognize that almost instantly, at least I do. And so that's why we are including this. And this sign will be out along Basha Road, not on the road, obviously behind the canal and behind the things, the palm trees. But that'll be there to pay homage to the Basha family. and to the site. Obviously, there's a lot of history that the Basha family has within the city of Chandler, a high school named after them, an elementary school named after them, and certainly a road as well. And so we feel that this is something that's good. With respect to the water tower itself and understanding that element, as was presented during the study session, we are requesting an additional stipulation that would require us to put and this is the wording on it, that we will include a silhouette of a water tower on this interpretive sign. Again, paying homage in an appropriate way of what has existed on this site with the Bashas, with that water tower. And so I believe that there's one more thing that talked about density. And I know that staff in their presentation, and I will probably steal theirs, they talked about density and how it fits in the surrounding area. I believe, is this the slide, Darcy? Okay. So relative to what exists in the surrounding area, certainly from a density standpoint, just immediately adjacent to us, you see that you've got the echelon condominiums, townhomes on the north side with a density of 8.7. You see the echelon community at about 3.39, and you see Parkview a little bit further to the south at 5.3. I know if you were to go a little further out in looking at the density, what you would see is that kind of further southeast of this site, within Ocotillo, there is a parcel with a density of 5.1. And obviously at the corner of Alma School and Ocotillo, a pretty dense area of 15.4. So where we come in at 5.4, we're kind of in the middle of the density that exists in the area already. And so I think with that, Chair, unless there's additional questions, again, we're certainly excited to have this request before you today. We're appreciative of staff's recommendation for approval. We're okay with the additional stipulations that we've suggested, and there was an additional one about disclosure that would be made for the dog park and the park facilities themselves. We are agreeable to that stipulation, and so with that, we would request your recommendation for approval.
Questions of the applicant? Okay, Mr. Ray, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience who wants to talk on this item?
Can I change my mind?
Change your mind?
I said I didn't want to talk.
Oh, yeah, come on up, state your name. I do not want anybody not to be able to have a chance to talk. So if you can state your name and address for the record, that'd be great, please. You'll have 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Monique Fulmer. I live at 4439 South Basha Road, just across the way from this. And while I appreciate what Brennan has talked about honoring the history of the area, I do think a little bit of what he said was a misrepresentation. When Bashas was a working warehouse and all of that traffic was there, the surrounding area was a farm. And so there was not the traffic that is there now. It was Alma School Road and a farm. And now there's all of the other housing, but the real concern is the park. It is right next to the skate park. Kids are skating down Basha Road every day. People are walking down Basha Road. People are cycling down Basha Road. The way that the road was when Bashas had trucks coming and going, because I also grew up right there, lived right there. It was not the same place when Bashas was a working warehouse as it is today. That's all.
Thank you. Do we have somebody from traffic here? You want to come up? I talked to a resident yesterday about the traffic on Basha Road, and Snedeker is really where the traffic goes to. Is there any plans for any calming or done traffic studies, whatever, in terms of trying to calm down the traffic on Basha Road?
Yeah,
I know you have stuff closer to the park, I know, but not so.
Yeah, in terms of traffic calming, Basha Road is not a local street; it's a collector.
Okay.
So there won't be any traffic calming that placed on a collector based on the city guideline.
Yeah, but I know that I've been involved with the city a long time. Have you guys done a study, done traffic counts, had somebody look at it in terms of, and this has nothing to do with the developer, but from the city's point of view, are we looking at that to make our streets safer? We can do a lot of things if we want to do them. So I would urge the traffic department and engineers to take a look at this road. And I know there's concerns down there, and it's not the people who are going to live where these guys live at Basher Road or the people moving in here. It's the people coming down. They're late for the ball game. They're screaming, racing down at 50 miles an hour. So I just urge our staff to take a look at it.
Absolutely.
We over the years, I hear collector, all this other stuff, but we really want to do something, we can do it. So I just urge you guys to take a look at that. And I personally will ask some of the council members to ask to be taken a look at as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. I just want to address a couple of things. And I've been in Chandler over 40 years, been in the Valley over 50 years. And, Chandler's a different place than it was. I mean, we were a farming community till 1980, and then Intel came along, and we're now the high-tech city of the Southwest. And sometimes it's hard to watch some of this stuff go away. And it just, I guess it's progress in a way. And I feel for it, but at the same time, south of Germain Road, people used to go hunting. There was nothing out there, kind of a situation. So I think this project's a pretty good project. Affordability, I agree with you. $700,000 houses are not affordable to the average person, but trying to get anything affordable right these days in Chandler is difficult. I mean, we have the second highest demographics in the state, and people are buying these things up. We have a resident here, he's here somewhere, and his neighborhood in the middle of Chandler, they just built houses. They sold out in 3 or 4 months, going at $700,000 plus. So people are buying them because Chandler's a really desirable place. So staff, could you read an additional? We talked about additional stipulations. Whoever's in charge of this one, can you talk through the steps, please?
Chair Human, if I could help out with this, rezoning stipulation number 7 reads, prior to the time of making any lot reservations or subsequent sale agreements for lots, the subdivider, home builder, lot developer shall provide a written disclosure statement for the signature of each buyer, acknowledging that the subdivision is located adjacent to or nearby the existing Snedeker Sports Complex and Dog Park that may cause adverse noise, odors, or other externalities. The public subdivision report, purchase contracts, CC&Rs, and the individual lot property deeds shall include a disclosure statement outlining that the site is adjacent to an existing sport complex and dog park. The disclosure shall state that such uses are legal and shall be expected to continue infinitely. The disclosure shall be presented to prospective home buyers on a separate single form for them to read and sign prior to or simultaneously as with executing a purchase agreement. This responsibility for notice rests with the home builder, lot developer, and shall not be construed as an absolute guarantee by the city of Chandler for receiving such notice.
Great. And that stays with the land, so it's not something that the house is sold down the road. So I do know that we had some issues with Echelon moving next to Snedeker. It's one of our premier parks in the city, heavily used. So Commissioner Bilstein, you said you had a question?
Yes,
comment?
thank you. Thank you, Chair. I just want to address a couple of comments that some of the residents made, and appreciate you guys coming out here. And I'd encourage the developer to continue to work with you all, because being on the east side of Basha, you do have unique homes there, and it's unique lot sizes, and it's something different. I know you all aim to protect that. But from a standpoint of, I think it was mentioned that it was an uncreative development. I think the homes look beautiful. I think it's definitely different than you all being on a little less than an acre. But I think from the way they look is great. And another comment that was made was, and I'd just be remiss if I didn't say something, was the chance to give, I think what you said, just chance to give character and creativity to Chandler culture. And I would just want to say on the record, as Eddie Basha and the Basha family gave so much to Chandler and Arizona as a whole. And when you talk about culture and character, going through the museum that used to be there, and when families would come to town, you'd want to see it. And it was amazing. And unfortunately, the lifespan of that property is just it's come and gone. And so it's time to redevelop that. But I hear what you're saying about the water tower, and I drive past it all the time going to the park. It's really cool. I understand that you could probably see it from your home, and so that has it different, and you've seen it from your home for a long time. And so I appreciate the developer working with the signage. If there's more that can be done, continue to do that so that when those folks pull out of their neighborhood, they still have that that feeling that they've had for a long time, knowing that that water tower is going to be going away. But I would just say that I think the character and creativity that Eddie Basha and the Basha family has done here for a long time um, more than makes up for a water tower. But I understand what you guys are saying. So thank you for coming out.
Any other comments? If not, can I have a motion from somebody, including the new stipulations? Commissioner?
I make a motion to approve item number 2 for today with the amended stipulations.
Do I have a second? Okay. Any further comments? Ryan came off the dais because Ryan needs to recuse himself because he lives close to this property. So that's why people are wondering why one of our commissioners walked into the audience because he is within the notification zone. So other comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Okay. Any comments from staff tonight? City attorney? Okay. Thanksgiving's coming up next week. Wish everybody a great, happy Thanksgiving, and make sure you walk a little bit before or after dinner. So anyway, this meeting is adjourned.